though I am unfit to come before you, I know you are able to attend to my needs. Just allow me to come to you. So this leper declares his faith in Christ's ability. Then when Jesus looks at his faith, when Jesus looks at his desire, my Bible says in verse 41, moved with pity, he stretched out his hand and touched him. According to the law, Jesus was not to touch him, because Jesus, by touching him, contaminates himself and will be declared unclean. 2, according to the law, this man was not to come, but because of his hopelessness, because of his dire need, he decides that I'm going. Though the law forbids me, but I have to go. So Jesus, being a compassionate God, moved with pity, stretched out his hand and touched him and said to him, I will be clean. And immediately the leprosy left him and he was made clean. Now, that is what the text says. How can we relate with this text today? How can we relate with this text today? According to the people there by then, they thought that leprosy was a curse from God. And I think they were somehow right. Because from the biblical data they have, we remember Miriam was struck with the leprosy. Sindio? Kwa sababu gani? I want to be a Bible student. Usengenya sengenya. Alisengenya huyu Musa na mke wake kierere tu. So leprosy came as a result of their sin. Now, if you go to the book of 2 Chronicles, there is a man called Uzziah. Uzziah was a king. And Uzziah, being that the kings were not allowed to make offerings in the temple, one day the king Uzziah decided that he wants to go and offer a sacrifice in the temple. He was struck with leprosy. So from there also they said, this is a curse from God. The third person that also contracted leprosy was the man called Gehazi. Gehazi. Yeah, alipata leprosy kwa sababu gani? When Naaman had leprosy and went to be healed, then Gehazi said, this Aramean cannot be healed for free. He must pay. Then he went and said, I want that money. Elisha is not a good man. He does not see the value of money. How can we help this foreigner? This foreigner must pay. Then he contracted leprosy. Let me turn to that first passage. 1 Kings chapter 5. There I am. I think with a few minutes I'm able to do that. 1 Kings chapter 5. In 1 Kings chapter 5, says now, 2 Kings, 1 Kings. 2 Kings. Second Kings chapter 5. Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and in high favor. Because of him, the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. Of course, when I read my Bible, I pay attention to words. This man was a great man. He was a successful man. In all the battles he fought, he won them. His master loved him. And he was a man whom, when he was walking in the society, everybody could admire Naaman because he was a great man. He was a successful man. He was a prosperous man. But now, when you find the word but negates what has been said before. So he says, but he was a leper. Now the Syrians, actually let me not even go to verse 2.
Now, though this Naaman is a great man, he is a successful man, he is a prosperous man, he is a man that young men, when they walk around, they say, I would like to be like Naaman. Naaman was a leper. He was suffering internally. Though outwardly, people could admire him. People could see his successes. But inwardly, Naaman was a leper. Now, as I've said and I've read, leprosy ilikuwa ni vidonda katika mwili. And Naaman, when he was walking during the day in his regalia, people admire him. Lakini hizo uzaa inatoka katika mwili, inashikamana na nguo. So when the man goes back at home in the evening, anaingia katika chumba chake, mke wake na ule msichana mdogo ambaye walitoa katika utumwani ako kwake, wanamsikia Naaman analia. Kwa sababu anapovua nguo, ile uzaa imeshikana na nguo, so the man cries. And this is how the little girl said, my master is suffering. Though outwardly he's doing fine, everybody admires him, but when he comes back home, this guy is suffering. When he's removing the regalia, nguo imekwama kwa mwili, na sasa akitoa inamuuma, analia, mke wake ameshindwa, watafanya nini? Then the young girl tells them, I know of a man, if my master would go to our home, he would find the prophet of God, and I'm certain that my master will be healed. Then Naaman says, let me go. And he went. When he went, aliponywa. But what am I saying? In the church today, we have people who are suffering like Naaman.
Akija kanisani, unaona Collins akona suti, unatamani hata mimi nitavaa suti niwe kama Collins lean.
But you don't know the pain that Collins has. You don't know what he's going through.
You look at a woman here in church, she's dressed well, you admire her, you say mimi nataka niwe kama fulani,
but you don't know the pain and the suffering that that person undergoes.
Labda ni mume wake, labda ni mke wake, ambayo waleoana, wakipendana, wanatembea kwa upendo, watu wanawatamani,
but you don't know the pain that they are going through.
Maybe it is because of their children, ambayo waliwazaa, wakawalelea.
Now they don't listen to them and they have all gone wayward.
That one you do not know.
But when you see them in church, they have a mask. And when they smile, you think everything is fine.
My friend, when you see people in church, these people are undergoing certain things that you know not.
And as a preacher, I have learned this. Hata mtu akichelewa kanisani, msiwe mnasema, mnachelewa chelewa. You don't know. You don't understand. So these people have a lot of pains, though outwardly they appear to be okay. So here I have two lepers. Naaman is a leper, but he appears to be okay. He has internal pain. He has internal sufferings that no one knows of.
But the other leper has left his family. Akiona mke wake ako. In fact, the closer you can be to a leper is 50 paces, 50 meters. So akiona mke, wanasalimiana, bado huko hujakufa.
Akiona watoto hawawezi wakamkaribia kwa sababu ya ugonjwa. Hata chakula hawezi pewa na jamaa, anategemea marafiki ili ale.
In fact, that guy that I've read, Edema, says,
some rabbis wangenunua chakula mahali lepa amepitia.
Ukipita hapa hivi,
hiyo street hawanunui kwa sababu labda iko na leprosy. Kanisani hauendi. There is a disconnect between you and God. There is a disconnect between you and your family. There is a disconnect between you and the society. So this is what leprosy did. And I think today, hatuna leprosy, but we are in the same state. Watoto wametoweka. Marafiki wametoweka. This guy used to do his work, but now he is financially dependent. So now when he goes to Jesus, wakati anapoenda kwa Yesu, this man desires a reunion with his family. Katika moyo wake anasema, I want to be reunited with my family. And the only obstacle between me and reunion with my family is this leprosy. So I want you, Jesus, to deal with this obstacle so that I can reunite with my family. I want to be independent. I don't want to depend on charity. The only thing before me is this leprosy. That is the only obstacle. I plead with Jesus, I remove for me this obstacle so that I can be reunited with my family, so that I can go back to do what I used to do. I want to be in my former state. Nataka nirudie mahali nilikuweko pale zamani. I want my children to be where they used to be before. They used to listen to me. They used to attend to my needs. Nowadays they don't. I want my family to be where we used to be before. I want my finances to be where they used to be before. I want my business to be where it used to be before. And this guy says, if you will. And that's why I say, I suspect that this man was a student of the Bible. If you will. Not my will, but your will be done. I want this reunion. God, I want to go back where I used to be, but not my will. If you want me to die with leprosy, I will be content because I know that it is the will of my Father. In fact, these people knew that leprosy was a stroke from God, was a punishment from God. So he knew that no priest could undo what God has declared. And that is why all the lepers, most of them were not healed. Because by healing them, it was like undoing what God has done. So he went to Jesus, whom he knew to be God. And he told God, it was you who had made me like this. But if you will that I be clean, make me clean. Like Jesus, he knew very well that it was his Father's will that he may go to the cross. But if God would perhaps change his mind and allowed him, let it be so. And he uses the very same words. Father, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, let your will be done. So the leper says, if I am in this condition and state, and God, you deem it fit that I be in this state and condition, may your will be done. And if it be your will that I be restored, that I may recover from this disease, may your will be done. So, nikimaliza, I want us to pray. There are many things we are struggling with. There are many things we have lost. We want a reunion in our families. We want a recovery from whatever we have lost. And we ask God, if it be your will. And since God is a compassionate God, the text tells us that Jesus, moved with pity, said to him, I will. So tuombe ya kwamba Mungu atuondolee shida ambayo tulio nayo. This man was hopeless. This man was helpless. But he sought God's mercy.
and God had mercy on him. Mungu awabariki. We are going to pray. And I want to give each one of us about a minute or so to pray for your own challenges that you'd wish that God moves in and addresses them. You've tried. The leper tried, did everything he could, but he was unable to help himself, so that God may help us. I'll give us a minute or so to pray for ourselves. Then I would request my brother Kiche to come and make a final prayer. We can sing song number 22 as we move to the moment of prayer. Hymn, song number 22.
Usinipite Mwokozi, unisikie unapozuru wengine.
jinsi tulivyo. Tunaomba. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, uliyezifanya mbingu na nchi, ukatuumba kwa mfano wako mwenyewe Kristo, asubuhi siku ya pili ya juma tumenyenyekea mbele zako, tukiwa na wingi wa shukrani kwa yale yote ambayo umetenda kwa ajili ya maisha yetu. Ni asante kwa sababu ulitutoa hapa sehemu ya jioni, ukatupumzisha katika usingizi na ukatuleta tena katika ubora wa afya. Mungu, jina lako litukuzwe. Ni asante Mungu kwa sababu unatuwezesha katika njia mbalimbali. Hivyo Mungu, tunapokuja mbele zako tunaliinua na kulimidi jina lako ili mapenzi yako yatimike katika maisha yetu. Mfalme wa amani, asubuhi hivi tunakuja tena tukiomba msamaha wa dhambi, ili Mungu wetu uweze ukatusamehe na tupate kibali machoni pako. Maana unasema kwamba wewe unatupenda, unasema kwamba u tayari kutusikiza, ila dhambi zetu inatutenga pamoja nawe. Mungu, tusamehe kila mmoja wetu aliyoko hapa asubuhi, ili tunapoleta dua zetu kwako, maombi yetu yafae machoni pako. Baba wa mbinguni, sasa hivi tunakuja na mahitaji yetu kama wanadamu. Asante kwa ajili ya neno lako ambao mtumishi wako amelitoa kwetu. Hapa katika mkutano kuna watu wanaugua ukoma wa aina mbalimbali. Watu wanapowaona kwa nje wanawaona wakiwa maridadi, wanawaona wakiwa katika ubora wao wa afya, lakini Kristo, ndani ya moyo wao kuna jambo moja ama nyingine wanapitia. Yesu, kama vile ambavyo yule jamaa alikusii, nasi pia tunaomba kwamba ikiwa ni mapenzi yako, ingia katika sehemu ya maisha kila mmoja wetu asubuhi, na Mungu suluhishe kadri ya mapenzi yako. Inaweza kuwa ni ukoma wa ugonjwa wa kiafya. Wewe ndiye mponyaji mkuu. Wiki hili tunawainua wagonjwa katika mbele ya kiti chako pa enzi, waponye katika jina lako. Baba wa mbinguni, inawezekana kuwa ukoma wa ukosefu wa fedha, manake hali ya maisha inakuwa ngumu. Watoto wako ingawa wanaweza kuwa ndani ya hekalu, lakini wanasongwa na mawazo kwamba maisha itakuwaje hapo kesho. Mungu wa mbinguni, tunakuomba wape breakthrough financially katika jina la Yesu. Baba wetu, unawezekano kuwa na ukoma wa mgogoro wa familia, watoto wasiokuwa watiifu, mama na baba ambao wasikilizani kwa nyumba. Lakini Kristo, ndipo tumekuja mbele zako kwamba ukiwa unataka utaweza kuleta amani katika familia zetu. Ikiwa unataka Yesu, upendo utarudi na uhusiano bora katika familia zetu, na jina lako litukuke. Baba wa mbinguni, kuna uwezekano pia kuwa na ukoma wa kiroho ambao imetufanya tumesonga mbali na wewe. Yesu, turudishe katika zizini mwako, utuponye kimwili na kiroho, na hatimaye Kristo, andika majina yetu katika kitabu cha uzima. Hebu Baba wetu, tunapoingia katika vipindi vingine, siku hili nzima tunaikabidhi mikononi mwako. Tembea pamoja nasi kuanzia sasa hadi jioni, na tena tutakaporudi tuseme asante kwamba wewe ni Mungu wetu. Barikie wanenaji wote na wasikilizaji, kwani ndilo ombi letu kwa jina la Yesu aliye Bwana na mkombozi wetu. Thank you.
Naomba msiondoke kwanza, tuchukue idadi. Chukue idadi. Naomba Mdhoni. Ushachukua? Asante. Eldo duty.